I don't know, is it just me, or I feel that lately the Hifiman is quite a hot brand right now, because lately a lot of their products definitely hit the market in a good way, I think that like the Sundara. I really appreciate what they did with Sundara, and I really like that Sundara. And then they released another generation, I believe, like this Hifiman Edition XS with the new design of the padding and new design of the headband overall. So hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for the Hifiman Edition XS. First of all, thank you for Intium Indonesia for sending me this review unit, and I have to tell you that the release of this Hifiman Edition XS will definitely give some people doubts of buying whether should I buy the Sundara or not, because the price difference is quite close. I mean, you could, for me right now, the Hifiman Sundara is still the best headphone, or if you have budget around $300, but you can get the somehow the upgrade version of the Sundara, which is the Edition XS, for around $500 only. So the difference is only around $150. So yeah, it definitely makes you think, should I buy Sundara or should I save a little bit more to get the Edition XS? But I have to tell you, they are different beasts. So yeah, I will definitely review this Sundara, and I will break down this review from the build, fit, and sound. The build quality of this Hifiman Edition XS, I should say that as far as I know, that this is their latest generation of the headband padding, and also a hinge for the headphone here. If you're wondering how the previous generation looks like, you maybe want to take a look at my Sundara review. And yeah, in the Hifiman Sundara, the headband is actually divided into two layers, the metal and also the planar layer, so it's quite different. In here, it's all become one here, so yeah, it's also, I feel that there's a metal plate here with a really good padding here. It's really soft, but it's covered in synthetic leather. And also you could find that the hinge is actually a bit different from the Sundara. Yes, I will talk about Sundara because I definitely believe that a lot of people will ask how does it feel compared to Sundara. In Sundara, you cannot wiggle the headband like this, you cannot wiggle the cup like this, and even though you see that it's not really turning 300 or 180 degrees like the Grado, but it definitely gives you better fit, which I definitely feel that this little bit of wiggling definitely helps a lot with the comfort of this new generation type of headband and also hinge. And yes, the cup itself is also metal, and the ear pad itself is it's somehow similar to the Sundara, which is using also hybrid padding like this, but the synthetic leather part, it's more shiny and it's more slippery. I know, I should show you this a little bit. This is the Hifiman Deva Pro. The padding of this Hifiman Deva Pro is actually really similar to the Sundara. It's matte or doff or whatever you say it, and the inside is using kind of fabric type of material, and it's also the same with this Hifiman Edition XS, but the feel of this protein leather, it's more slippery and also feels more high quality, even though they are both synthetic leather. And the cable itself, even though it's maybe looks similar to the one that I tried in the Sundara, but trust me that the weight is somehow feels lighter, and also it's much more flexible to the point that I actually quite enjoy this flexibility of the cable. In previous review in Sundara, I actually said that I don't really like the feels of the cable because it's thick and very rubbery and not flexible, but this one is much more flexible. So yeah, this new generation of Hifiman definitely works for me. Well, when it comes to fit, I couldn't really say a lot because it is simply perfect for me. I really have nothing to complain. The weight distribution is amazing. It's really a light headphone to begin with, and also yeah, it feels really great in my head. The clamping force is minimum, so I really don't have any complaints with it. And the clamping force is the thing that I'd like to say, that the Sundara, I can still feel a little bit of pressure on this part, but this Edition XS is far from it. It's, man, I have tried them and I have used them for around 5 to 6 hours without any complaint. It's just perfect for me. Well, when it comes to the sound, they are definitely a planar headphone, but they are not the most demanding planar headphone in terms of power that I've ever tried. Because when I'm using this DX160, it's already enough when I'm using balance, using half of its full power, using high gain. It's already enough for me to get to hear what this Edition XS could offer. Yes, I've tried them using some headphone amplifier too, and some DAC like the Hugo 2, and also the Chord Dave that I've tried in the demo unit. But here's the thing, that for me, they're not that hard to drive. I mean, compared to the LCD 5 maybe. So yeah, even using the AP such as this, using balance connection, is definitely more recommended, but it's not the most hard to drive planar headphone. But definitely don't use a simply handphone for them. And when it comes to the sound for this Edition XS, if you have seen my review for the Hifiman Sundara, for me the Sundara is the proper neutral headphone. That's how a neutral headphone should sound like. And coming from that Sundara and then change them to this Edition XS, I feel that the Edition XS has more additional sub-bass punch and also more pushed upper mid-range and also treble areas. So after tried Sundara, I feel that this Edition XS sounds somehow V-shaped-ish. It's mild V-shaped, not very V-shaped, but yeah, it's just what I perceive when I'm after hearing the Sundara, which I perceive to be a proper neutral headphone. Even though when you take a look at the frequency response, yes, you might see that it is somehow a neutral, bright headphone, but it's just what I hear. After hearing Sundara, I feel that it somehow sounds quite V-shaped. Okay, let's talk about the bass first. For this headphone, it is an excellent bass. It definitely reaches deep in the sub bass and also quick and fast in decay, but it's definitely not for bass heads. I mean, for me, it's still lacking body, it's still lacking mid bass to hear, to give a headbang when I'm hearing EDMs from Griffin or Marshmello or something like that. But the depth of the bass is definitely really good. So for example, let me give you some song with really huge sub bass, such as Prince Ali from Aladdin soundtrack. You could see that, you can hear that in the first part of the song, when I think that's where the elephant stomp is dum dum. I can literally feel the sub bass is really big from this headphone and it's vibrating, that I could feel the vibration in my head. So yeah, the sub bass extension and presence is really great, but the decay is quite fast, and also it's not really the thickest mid bass that I've ever heard, so it's not for bass head. But if you're looking for a really good quality bass, yeah, they definitely give you that. And also talking about the mid-range, the mid-range is more skewed towards the upper mid-range rather than the lower mid-range. So yeah, it definitely benefits for me to hearing some instrumentals like piano and also the guitar. For me, it somehow sounds more forward and also clearer. But at the same time, I'm lacking a little bit of body when I'm hearing male vocal from Il Divo and also like the Josh Groban. And yeah, vocal female definitely feels more forward rather than the male vocal here. And talking about the human vocal, because it has treble, which I will talk about later, but there's definitely push, there's definitely elevation in the treble area that makes vocal, especially when the recording is not really good, and there's S pronunciation, that the sibilance is being more enhanced somehow. Like when I'm hearing Ed Sheeran's Galway Girl or Phil Collins' Two Worlds or Son of Man, definitely feel that the sibilance is somehow enhanced to the point that I don't really like, because it's definitely there, the sibilance is definitely there. But thankfully, because this is a over-ear headphone somehow with a great soundstage, for me, like the sibilance somehow feels quite far from my ear, so it's not really in on your head, it's not really forward to my face. It's there, but it feels quite far and not really hurting my ears. I hope you can understand that. And the treble itself is definitely pushed. There's some elevation in the upper treble area that makes there's somehow added shimmering in the cymbal crash and also some metallic percussion. When I'm hearing some orchestra, it's definitely obvious that I hear that extra shimmers in the S area, pronunciation from S, or maybe some that metallic sounding. It's a little bit enhanced for me, the timbre, so it's not really natural. I actually prefer the timbre of Sundara. But talking about the tonality alone, yes, you could definitely adjust them using equalizer, but here I am, I'm not an equalizer guy, so I mean, I'm here as a reviewer. I tried tons of headphones and I have not time to adjust them one by one. So for me, yeah, it definitely benefits from equalizer, especially in the treble area, and also it benefits from tube headphone amplifier to maybe tame that somehow treble elevation there that somehow makes this headphone not really natural sounding in some songs, in some tracks. But let me tell you that the technicality of this headphone is definitely solid, and it may be the best that I've ever heard at this price point. I mean, at $500, what's the competition here? Maybe the HD 660s from the Sennheiser. It's definitely different level. For me, the Hifiman Edition XS offers really good soundstage. If you have seen again my review for Sundara, I already praised Sundara for its technicality, but give a little bit of save a little bit of money and then you get Edition XS. The technicality is definitely another level. Soundstage, imaging, and also the overall detail of this Edition XS is definitely excellent. But yeah, for me, it is simply about the tonality that somehow not as ideal as Sundara. At least that's for me. So if you ask me, which one should you buy? For me, the Sundara is still a saver option. Maybe if you are like me that doesn't really like to use equalizer. For me, the Sundara in terms of tonality is more balanced, is more neutral compared to this Edition XS. But the technicality and also fit and build definitely feels like lower level compared to this Edition XS. So for me personally, I will definitely recommend you to buy Edition XS and save some money if you have maybe headphone tube amplifier or you have some times to adjust your equalizer. This Edition XS definitely has much better potential compared to Sundara. But if you are like me, maybe I don't really like to use equalizer since I have a lot of headphones and IMs and I don't really use tube amplifier, so yeah, Sundara is an easier option. Maybe it's more ideal for me. But I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. That definitely the potential is definitely up there. The Edition XS is really good and really easy to recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you have any question, please write down below in the comment section, and see you next time. Bye bye.